Hello and welcome to Desynced Nerds, a Nintendo Switch podcast. This is episode 19, airing on Saturday, the thirst of February. We're your hosts. I'm Colin on Twitter at DSNColin. He's Devon on Twitter at Kulana. You can find the show at Desynced Nerds. And as you know, we bring you all the latest news and hot topics from around the internet. But first, let's start with our week in gaming because I forgot to do the preview section of the show notes. Devon, what have you been playing this week?
Nothing.
Wow. Okay, on to the news.
So I'm still sick, so I've really done nothing. I've been laying in bed reading a book all week. But I did have a little mental kind of thing that I arrived at this week. I don't really want to be playing 2-year-old, 3-year-old Switch ports. I'm not interested in that. Like, I almost bought Crypt of the Necrodancer, but then I thought I'm not going to just buy a 3-year-old game. I'm not into it. So I think that as a general rule, I'm going to try and stay away from those. And but what I'm looking forward to is a Tiny Metal update, which I think has already dropped. There's a bunch of new content in it. There's some UI fixes, which was, if you go back and listen to, one of my big complaints was that you can't read it in certain modes. The text is just not functional. And so that was one of my big issues. And I wanted to like that game really badly. So I think I'm going to go back and try that. Well, what about you? What have you done this week?
Pretty much the same. We changing apartments / organizing wedding / I'm lazy. So mostly just a little bit of Lost Sphere, and that's it. I'm excited for Mercenary Saga 2 though. That's coming out on Thursday, and I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, that's in our upcoming week.
Yeah, some Hulu. I mean, my last month's trend, if you saw that on Twitter, I had like half an hour per day. I'm basically keeping that trend alive right now. Stuff is a little bit lame for me.
Yeah. Are you going to get in on those touch controls for the Hulu app?
No, I mean, why would you ever watch Hulu in portable mode? But anyway. All right. First thing on the news docket today, Nintendo Japanese president interview. What did he say?
He said so many things.
All right, next topic.
And some of this we're also going to get into. So in our segment of the week, we have their corporate financial response, which was mostly very dry and boring, but there was some good stuff in there. So a lot of the stuff we'll talk about further later on. But he said they want to support the Switch for a longer than usual time period, which is something that both Microsoft and Nintendo have actually said about the same thing about this generation. And I'm not quite sure why that's a trend that is happening in the industry, but I don't hate it.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. Less $400, $300 purchases is a good thing. Yeah. He specifically called out their desire to spend more time working out ways to use the controller in interesting ways, because, I mean, they've got a lot of weird tech, which, again, we'll get into later. There's some interesting things that we've learned with Labo. So they want to see that they want to see people really take advantage of that. And I don't know. Yeah, we'll get into that again in the financial segment. And then he also talks about how in the second year they want to kind of broaden the appeal of the console, which this kind of falls flat to me. He says that the early adopters are mostly the Nintendo faithful, and so he doesn't want to see comparisons of the Wii U until the second year, because again, it's just Nintendo faithful. But the only people who bought the Wii U were the Nintendo faithful. That was not randoms. That was not. No general consumer bought that console because it was just such a weird device, and people didn't understand it. I don't know. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think that he's afraid of calling it a success and having people sit on their laurels, and I think that that's probably what this is about, because it'd be really easy to say, oh, our first year was amazing, let's just coast, and obviously they can't do that. They need to continue to, have the hits every month. And but yeah,
it's funny that he says the Nintendo faithful, because I didn't own a Wii or a Wii U. The last time I bought a Nintendo console was the Nintendo 64. I had a GameCube for maybe 2 weeks, and just their portable consoles.
Yeah, it's patently not true. Like the game is sold more than the whole the last console's lifetime. Obviously, they've hit farther than the Nintendo faithful at this point. And again, the one thing that he specifically calls out, the Wii U was only bought by the Nintendo. Like it's just the logical stuff doesn't make any sense to me. He's trying to say something else, and he's just not willing to say it. So I don't know.
All right. Well, the next thing up, we have a Miyamoto quote regarding the Labo. What did he say?
He said, this is a direct quote, Nintendo isn't a video game company, but a firm that always tries to propose new fun. There are many engineers at Nintendo who want to do things like Labo, and that's the kind of people we're hiring. The idea here is they want to do stuff that isn't traditional gaming, which is so Nintendo it hurts me. This is such a double-edged sword in my mind that it's great that they do new stuff. I love the Switch. I really, really actually like the uniqueness of the Switch. But at the same time, then they have something like Labo, and I think Labo's doomed to fail. That's my hot take. And when they fail hard. Like we saw a whole era of Nintendo just do nothing because they took a weird path with the Wii U.
I mean, I think it's possible that there's a niche for this, and it'll fit that niche perfectly, and it won't be a huge breakout success, but it won't fail either because it'll suit that niche. That's what I think of Labo. Like it's weird and not for me, but I'm also not like a 4-year-old or a dad with a 4-year-old. And that's what I think this is really meant for. But I mean, we also haven't seen it. They're talking about like you can make your own stuff and wire your own Labo stuff together. So maybe it's way cooler than we think or know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I do acknowledge that as possible. I don't know. They're also using it as we are so cannibalizing that segment. Um, they're listing it as their like big first party release for that month. I think it's April, and because they outline like all of their big releases. You know, February has this, March has this, etc. And April is
Yeah.
literally just Labo. So I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird for me to see them categorize it as a first party launch, like release item. To me, it's more like a peripheral type of thing. But yeah, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And peripherals aren't always for everybody. Not everybody bought the Wii Dance Board or whatever it was called.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. Because I never owned a Wii. Anyway, moving along. We also saw bits of the programming users can do what the bits of programming users can do while making custom toy cons. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so this is the thing that you just hinted at, actually. There's very rudimentary creation of the just like how you interact with the toy cons, and you can kind of they showed an example of in the video, the announcement video. There's a guy that you can see standing, and then when you push a button on the oh my god,
Switch proper.
Thank you, the screen thingy. Switch proper was probably a better word, but I liked mine. Anyway,
You like screen thingy?
screen
Cool.
thingy.
Okay.
It's a technical term. I'm an engineer, and that's a technical term. Anyway, so you press a button on the screen, and it knocks the guy over, and it's just like this cardboard dude that just falls on his face. And that was kind of you have very simple if-then statements that you can make. If I push the button, it vibrates the right Joy-Con at 100% power for 5 seconds, kind of thing. And so this sort of like manual creation of stuff seems really cool. And if that is at all like full featured, I will be fully behind this. Because again, they keep pushing this maker aspect. They keep saying, "Oh, the makers are gonna love this," and I just didn't see it. Like I didn't see the maker. What does a maker make here besides their own custom piano?
He makes the dude fall down and go boom.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what they seem to be pushing for. That is the part where I hit that is just super cool. So I want to see that expanded to be the full thing.
But yeah, anyway, more Labo news. The car Toy-Con uses the IR camera for pseudo heat/night vision. I saw a video of this, and the dude was like making it chase his hand, or he was like chasing it with his hand. I don't know exactly what was going on, but it was absolutely reacting to him. Super cool stuff.
Yeah, so this ties into that previous story pretty heavily. if you can access like the IR camera in that way, I think that's really cool. And that's, again, we're kind of seeing what makes it cool. So top of the show, I'm going to complain about how Labo's dumb, and then I'm going to spend the whole show going, this is really cool, actually. Though there's this other thing. This is also really cool. Never let it be said that I can't immediately eat my words after I say something stupid.
I just think, like, we still don't even have enough information, and we won't have enough information until at least March, probably actually April, to hate it. It just
Yeah.
on the original looking through the window. It's what is that looks stupid. But
Just Nintendo things.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like the Wii. Remember the first time you looked at the Wii, you're like, that is the dumbest thing ever. And then you played with it and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then it sold gangbusters. 100 million, what was it in its
I don't know.
lifetime or total?
It's in like top 3 or top 4 or something of all consoles of all time. So.
Yeah. And when it was first coming out, people were like, that's the dumbest thing. At least I say people, but I mostly mean like PlayStation fanboys. Because I'm one of those. All right. What do we got next? Atari talks about the crowdsourcing and response to controversy, which there was a lot of. What
Yeah,
do we got?
people lost their minds over this. I don't understand why people were so angry about it. Like, I feel like this is one of those things that's just the quintessential not for me kind of moment. Like, I agree with people that it's silly and it's not something I'm going to participate in, but it's also not for me. I'm not looking for investment opportunities. I think that people saw crowdfunding and they thought Kickstarter, and it's obviously not Kickstarter. People just joining us. So Atari launched a investment opportunity for the new Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you can invest. I think it's a minimum of $250, and you get profit sharing. So for every Roller Coaster Tycoon copy they sell, you'll get fractions of a penny up to, I don't remember the numbers.
It was like you get like 120% of your investment back, and then after that, it's some like pseudo royalty. I can't remember exactly what they called it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and people lost their minds over this. There was a lot of anger over it. And so Atari kind of came back and they said, we have a great quote here. It makes sense for Atari to try and test new sources of funding to see if those sources could be available down the road for more games. So they're really just trying to see if they can fund their games with this, because
Yeah, it's a toe in the water.
yeah, exactly. And they also were very quick to point out that they're not relying on the crowdfunding. If the crowdfunding
They
had
only
bombed,
asked for 10 grand. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Their minimum value was ridiculously low. If it had bombed completely, they would still have built the game. They just wouldn't have done it with crowd money. They would have done it with their own money. And honestly, I think a world where we get to vote with our dollar before the game actually comes out, and being able to kind of like not participate, but communicate our desire for an idea at the idea stage, that's a big deal. And I think that we as a community need to kind of embrace that. I mean, obviously,
I think that's like the draw to Kickstarter in general.
yeah.
But this is this is definitely different. So I don't know.
Yeah. With all that said, running a trend of me immediately disagreeing with myself, I do see the hate for like crowdfunding in general. I don't actually participate in crowdfunding anymore just because, I don't know.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Exactly.
Fool me 17 times in a row. Okay, I'm gonna stop putting money into crowdfunding.
Yeah, I don't know how many games have been great ideas and then they just take a dump on release. Like Mighty Number 9 is one of the ones that comes to mind, where it was this huge success, and then the game came out and everybody was just like, this is not worth the multiple millions of dollars that it made. Like, and doing the whole Kickstarter versus whatever this was called, I forget the name of it. The idea that someone's going to fund 100% of development of something with crowd money and then just eat all of the profits on their own is a little bit BS. Like, it's just kind of scummy. So to see a different take on that gives money back is a great thing.
Yeah, it rewards you for being up on the ground floor.
Exactly.
Huh.
Oh. TLDR, y'all need to chill out. This is not a big deal.
Yeah, and then when Final Fantasy 17 goes this route, I will absolutely be part of that. I cannot wait. I doubt 16 will do it, and I doubt the next 7-15 spin-offs will do it, but 17, I'm keeping my eye out.
All right.
All right, moving along. A little bit happier news, semi-happier news. Nintendo is selling single Joy-Cons online in their Nintendo stores, but
You can have any color you want as long as it's gray.
lame.
Yeah, so because I really wanted to get the single pink. I don't want the green and pink bundle. I don't need it. I don't need more Joy-Cons. I wanted the single pink one because that's the one I wanted, and you just can't. But as a detail, they're $50, $49.99, and they ship. So if you break a Joy-Con, this is great for that. If you didn't break a Joy-Con, I don't know why you would ever do this.
Yep. Moving along. Capcom, that was easy for me to say, releases their own financial information, and they're doing really well. Why, Devon?
Because of Monster Hunter Double Cross.
Is it Double Cross?
It
or
is Double
XX?
Cross. That is what I learned recently, is that it's Double Cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been pronouncing
I'm just kidding. Yeah, Double Cross, yeah.
You were just testing me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so they specifically call out Monster Hunter Double Cross as part of the reason why they're doing so well. And yet, they're not releasing it to the biggest Switch market, the English-speaking market. They're just... I've not gotten to do this in a while, so I had to include this. It frustrates me so much. I don't understand. Nintendo released numbers recently in this financial thing that we're going to talk about at the end of the show about how well they're doing in the various markets. And the US market alone is bigger than the Japanese market. So the US plus all of Europe is massively more than the Japanese market. And yet for some reason they're not releasing it to this. And it just... What Double Cross?
Are they like do they have they said it's not coming here, or they're just like not working on it?
They have
I imagine it has to be coming. It's just a language thing.
Yeah, it's just
language pack.
A thing, yeah. I mean, I don't know. As we've seen, language like localization sometimes can be weird with
yeah,
Kagero and whatchamaface, Suzuki.
You talking about Fates?
Yeah. There was that.
It was Baruka and Niles, where they just deleted like multiple blocks of text.
Yeah,
they were talking about some dark stuff, and American audiences can't handle dark stuff. Fates sucks. I'm just gonna. While you get your Capcom thing, let me get my Fire Emblem thing here. And also, Ys. They recently redid all the stuff for Ys.
Oh yeah,
now it's much better.
That was. So that's actually, let's just take a moment to talk about that. They're re-releasing Ys because Ys was like crapped on for its localization, but with the re-release there, apparently they re-localized everything, and maybe this is a bigger deal than we thought. I don't know. But also, I want Monster Hunter XX or Double Cross, and I'm an angry consumer. Give me the game, Capcom.
Fate sucks. Anyway, next up, Kirby Star Allies had a gameplay video released, and oh my god, it was adorable.
It was. And it was so nostalgia influenced, it hurt a little bit. Like, if you had taken that first... Wow, voice crack. If you had taken that first level that they show and told me that it was like an upscaled recreation of the SNES game, I would have 100% believed you.
I legit thought it was.
Exactly. It's so just classic Kirby. It even culminates in a battle versus the sleepy cry tree that has been in every Kirby game ever. That was literally featured in the 64 Smash level. So it looks really cool and it looks like a lot of fun, but Nintendo, come on, branch out a little bit, please.
Do you think it's suffering from the Pokemon problem where it's the same thing all the time? Is that what you're talking about? Branch out how?
I don't need... I expect that Kirby's gonna have the same base mechanics in that, you know, it's a platformer where you can fly and you eat dudes and... But I need it to not feel like I'm playing the exact same game in terms of like visuals in the world. It needs to branch out and like, this is an ice level and this one's a volcano and just stuff like that. It needs to...
So like Smo. You want Smo again? Super Mario Odyssey? No, never mind. Okay,
okay, yeah, no. I absolutely 100% agree with that. Yes, it needs to be in new environments with slightly shifted new mechanics.
All right. I assume you're done with that one, so we'll move along. ARMS has a new patch. Nintendo lied to us.
Yeah, they said it was content complete. It is clearly not content complete. Only reason I really wanted to talk about was because they added a genius idea. They added a tournament mode option where you just like hit a button combo and then everything in the game is unlocked, all of the stages, all of the characters, all of the weapons, and it just blocks progression. So while you're in that mode, you don't get the in-game currency to buy stuff, but again, it just has everything. So you just, if you're playing a tournament, if you just want to like actually play the game with a friend, you just hit that button combo and you go into tournament mode. And I think this needs to be a thing that every game has. Like literally every game needs this right now.
I want that on Dissidia.
Exactly.
So bad.
Exactly. It's such a great thing.
It's such a good idea, yeah. Speaking on good ideas, Octopath Traveler released a response video to the survey that they put out years ago, detailing the changes that they're making to the game based on their feedback.
Yeah. So as I was telling you in the pre-show, I really think that we need to give publishers and developers the attaboy for this sort of thing. They said, give us some feedback, talk to us, tell us what you think. And when they got that feedback, they responded to it. They're making this a two-way street, and that's super important.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And we need to, good on you, Square Enix. I did want to point out one of the specific callouts they made was to an HD filter, which I've got a tweet of a side-by-side comparison of the two photos the two examples that they show. So
I don't understand what was the complaint there, because when it's turned off, it's bad.
Yeah, it looks ugly in my opinion as well. I think the idea was that it was kind of muddy and like hard to read what was actually happening. So
kind of like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, where it's like the background was like high res pictures and they just mapped over it. Yeah, I can see a little of that. Yeah, okay, I agree. But the filter just like looked muddy to me. It looked like Doom and Portable to me.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a full video that you should go watch if you cared about that at all. I just think it's cool that they're doing this. And I'll put that in the show notes.
All right, on to game releases. We have quite a few this week. So we'll start with the most important one, Dragon Quest Builders.
Yay, Dragon Quest Builders. I am so hyped for this game. I actually cannot contain it. I was really into the idea because, again, base building is that kind of like base building, town building. That's a big mechanic for me. I don't know what about that is that just there's a soft spot in my brain and
it touches the tumor.
Yeah, exactly. And so when this game came out, when the demo came out, I was just like, I love this. Anyway, so Dragon Quest Builders, it releases on the 9th. It is €49.99, £39.99, and $49.99. Not a full price game, weirdly enough. It's got Minecraft style building where you've got the big blocks that you place, and then also the same kind of like resource collection, but it's got real combat, and that's so critical. I've been wanting a game like this to not be like Minecraft's combat is just boring. That's just what it is. It's just boring. And so to see someone actually take that and put real care and energy into the combat is so good to me. And it's just generally more structured than Minecraft in that I need to this girl wants a house, so I need to build her a house, and then I have to set the house up for her. And now this new librarian guy came in, and he needs the library to be built, and then he also needs a room in there. And so it's got that. If you don't like the kind of openness of Minecraft and the lack of direction, it solves that problem. And again, it has a demo. Go try the demo. Go try the demo. Go try the demo. What do you think about this game?
You're like warping your mic. I mean, it's Square, and Square can do no wrong for me, so I love it. And I actually really, really enjoyed the demo. But really, I'm just if there's a thing in the world that I'm a fanboy of, it's basically anything Square Enix has ever done. So it's not fair to ask me.
Yeah. I do want to point out, when we first heard about this game, you were pretty meh on it.
Well, Dragon Quest. Okay, so I'm gonna follow the Devon vein where I say a thing and then backpedal it immediately. Dragon Quest is one of the Square Enix titles that I always looked at and was like, why would I play that? I'm playing basically that in every other one of their titles. So I never really touched the Dragon Quest game. And so because it was Dragon Quest Builders, I was just like, whatever. It's just another Dragon Quest game. I don't care. But then I played the demo and was like, oh, this is not at all. It like steals the sprites and the mobs, but it's very much not a Dragon Quest game.
Very much so true.
That's why I was meh, because I didn't understand. I needed more time.
So just to reiterate, play the demo. Play the demo.
It's really good. All right, moving along. Mostly because you're driving me crazy. Mercenary Kings. What's Mercenary Kings?
Play the demo. Mercenary
No.
Kings is a it is a 2D side scroller. It kind of looks like Metal Slug, if you ever played Metal Slug. So it releases on the 6th. It is going to be $19.99, and that is the only price announced. It is an old port of a PC, Xbox One, PS4 game, but it comes with a functional like expansion pack worth of content. There's new characters, there's new weapons, and so that's a bigger deal than it may sound like. The weapons, because there's a very, very robust crafting system in this game. You take a handgun and then you modify the nozzle and you modify the clip and the sight and all of everything. So you kind of Frankenstein these guns and turn them into different versions of what you want. So it gives you very minute control over how you want your weapons to be. I also saw it compared to Monster Hunter in that you kind of run these missions, and every time you run the mission, you get the part, you get this screw, and then you get another like a sheet of metal, and you need 5 of one and 2 of the other, and then this other thing to kind of craft the new version. So it's interesting. I don't know that I have enough nostalgia for Metal Slug to really get into this, but I like the idea of the crafting system. And again, with my previous statement of I'm just not participating in 5-year-old ports. It's not something I want to do. What about you? What do you think?
I mean, Metal Slug has never been on my radar, so
Oh, really?
I couldn't care less.
I thought that was your bag. Okay.
No, God no. Anyway, moving along. Aegis Defenders. What is Aegis Defenders?
It is a 2D platformer plus tower defense. It releases on the 8th. It will be 19.99 euros, 14.99 pounds, and $19.99. And I was reading reviews for this because it's been around for a while. And what was it? I think it doesn't matter. Someone said, this is the quintessential roll 2 dice with genres on them and just make a game about what pops up. Because it's like full 2D platformer, full like run and gun platformer, and then at the end of every level there's just a tower defense section. And it's just it's such an odd combination. Like I'm kind of interested in the game because it's just these are both things that I kind of enjoy. But I don't know. So it's an old Kickstarter game from 2014 was when it first funded. And it is seeing a full release. So this is not a 5-year-old port or a 3-year-old port. It's actually just public release as of, what did I say, the 8th? The 8th, yeah. But again, I don't know. 2D platformers.
Yep, neither one of those things are my jam, so I'll be skipping that. It's not a Final Fantasy, so I don't want it.
It's just a narrow list of interests.
What is a Final Fantasy, though? See that transition? Mercenary Saga 2. What is Mercenary Saga 2?
Not 2. It's the collection.
Oh, it's the collection.
Yeah, it's a collection of all 3.
I'm so buying this, especially for that price. All right, what is that? What is it? Explain it. Talk to me.
So it releases on the 8th. It's $14.99, $14.99, and $13.59 euros, pounds. Why did I do this in a different order? Anyway. So it is a tactics RPG styled after kind of the greats of the genre, Tactics Ogre and FFT. Those are the 2 big ones as far as I'm concerned. And again, it's a 3-pack of all 3 games. So the first game has never actually been on a Nintendo console before, so that's a big deal. But so the one thing that kind of like puts me off of this is that they're phone games. They were originally, all 3 of these were originally phone games, which I just don't know how well that's going to translate. Like, as I said last week when we talked about this game, I don't feel like there's a good tactics game on this console yet. Mario Rabbids notwithstanding, which is its own, it doesn't count because I'm shifting goalposts. So I really want to see like some kind of really strong tactics game. So I want this to be good. I want this to be amazing, and I just don't know if it's going to be there. So
I mean, until Wargroove, I feel like this will absolutely be the best tactics game collection of tactics games. You can't get worse than phone controls. I don't think it's a bad thing. From what I saw, it looks and plays exactly like Tactics Advanced, like the GBA version one. So I'm really excited for this, and don't you dare rain on my parade.
I mean, I'm not raining on your parade. I'm just saying I'm gonna wait for you to play the game. Because if you had bought Tiny Metal first and told me about it, I wouldn't have bought it. So I'm absolutely gonna wait for your opinion. And also, that's the day before DQ Builders, and I've already got my preload or my pre-order, and that's really all I'm gonna care about next week.
I mean, it's $15. That's a mistake I'm willing to make.
Fair enough. So definitely let us know what you think.
All right, onto our segment. Nintendo Corporation presentation. What?
Yeah, so we've alluded to this a little bit. There was a big end of the year meeting. I don't actually know why they did the meeting. Anyway, not important. There's a big PDF which I will be linking to in the show notes of just kind of all of their slides that they used and kind of their brief little verbal bits about it. But just going through it, I'm gonna hit on most of the big notes. First, they talked about sales of the console. Sales numbers are boring. Nobody cares. Go read the document if you want to see them. It's selling really well. Shocker. They did compare the sales of the last big 3 consoles in the last big 3 regions. So
the graph is hilarious, for the record.
Yeah,
like it's just like there's Wii, there's Switch is like catching up to it, and then Wii U is just like holding down the bottom.
Just like 10% of everybody else. So yeah, and this is what I was referencing when I said that the American region is doing better than Japan, and Europe also exists. So the English speaking region is the biggest region by a long shot. What else did they talk to? They talked about game attachment rates, and again, sales numbers are boring. It's in the show notes, or it's in the show notes. Go look. But then, so if we finally get to some interesting bits, they talk about their goals going forward. They have said that they want to focus on unique ways of playing the Switch, which again we see with the JP's president's comments are at the top of the show, where he talks about wanting to see new stuff with the Joy-Cons. The Labo is obviously this is exactly Labo is their response to this statement right there. So I mean I'm all about this. I love to see Labo is slowly, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I'm interested in it. So having them do stuff like the IR cameras, I want to see that get used. I don't want to see that be wasted tech. And as we've talked, the Joy-Cons are technological pieces of magic. Like, they're just wild what's in them.
I've been telling you that for years, and you've never believed me.
I'm just gonna shamelessly steal the thing that you keep saying to me. So I really want to see kind of what is possible with that, because again, yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff going on in those controllers. So, they also talk about wanting a focus on like long-term support of their games. They want more DLC and more in-game events. Think like Splatfest, and ARMS has something that's the same. I don't remember what it's called. And I like this sort of thing. I feel like Nintendo frequently doesn't get it right on the first pass. We've seen that again and again, where their first pass is not great. And then they iterate and they make it better. And so this focus on iterating on their games is a big deal. And I think that it's a big deal for us as consumers to see that kind of, seeing them expand and improve on their stuff. And then they also, there's a brief nod to the upcoming online mode. They don't really say anything. They set the release to September 2018, but that's all. They've not said which of the previous iterations that they've talked about they're going to go with. They've not really, there was a real statement, just September, which you were skeptical about.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they keep moving it. It was supposed to be November.
Yeah.
And then it was supposed to be December, and then it was supposed to be, I don't even remember what it was after December, just like TBD or TBA.
Well,
now it's September. I don't know, man.
A lot of the issues there were just typos. I think there was 3 different instances, maybe only 2, of people typoing the release date and just getting it wrong. So, but yeah, I do agree that they've pushed it around a fair amount. And then as we've mentioned before, they were talking about new ways to play as a kind of like core focus of what they're going for. They want to move out of the gaming hardcore. They don't want to just get the people that buy video games. And I feel like this is a response to the Wii, because the Wii was such a like it did such amazing things for the non-hardcore world. You know, everybody's grandmother has a Wii. My grandmother literally has a Wii, and she's not played a video game since Diablo 1, which maybe makes her an anomaly, but the point stands.
That makes her a bad arse
Oh,
for
yeah.
playing Diablo 1. That's tight. Keeping it family friendly, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then they go on to iterate through their upcoming months of releases, which again I alluded to before. So they said February they want to be Bayonetta 1 and 2. March is Kirby Star Allies. April is Labo, which again is a concern to me because that's not got any sort of widespread appeal, and it's definitely going to be a niche product. So for that to be something that they're using to prop up a month is kind of a bummer. Then in May they want Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and then spring, which, you know, months. Who cares about months?
Is March through May, yeah.
So that's Mario Tennis, which I'm kind of hoping will be April, just so that April has an actual release of things that more than 10 people will care about. And then, again, months. Who cares about months? 2018 is Yoshi. And I'm actually kind of excited about a lot of these. I don't know that I'll play Bayonetta because I think I've got too much going on in February, but I definitely want Kirby Star Allies. I definitely want Tropical Freeze. I want to be Funky Kong. And I like tennis games. I like the Mario tennis games specifically. I think those are fun games. Me and my little brother played a bunch of the GameCube one. I think it's Strikers recently. And it was just like, this is randomly a lot of fun, so. Oh, and then there was also multiple slides about outside development games with some weird nods. Like, so it was a slide of just like a bunch of different game logos. They had like the big names, the stuff you would expect. Wolfenstein was on there, Rocket League was on there, Stardew Valley, Minecraft, and then an Othello port. Yeah, Dark Souls on there too. And then an Othello port and Human Resource Machine. Like 10 different people know what Human Resource Machine is. And why are they?
I don't know what Othello is either.
It's a board game.
Actually, oh, okay. I know what Human Resource Machine is, but I don't know what Othello is.
It's just a random board game. I don't know why they're like nodding to these weird board game port companies. But anyway, so that's there. You can see the full thing. A lot of the stuff was in Japanese, so I couldn't actually I didn't recognize the logo, and the text is 100% Japanese, so I'm just like, I don't know what that is. Okay, moving on. And then they also talked about the 3DS, which I'm going to hit just for posterity. They're not dropping the 3DS. They want to support it. They want it to be a side-by-side sort of the budget version of their gaming console. If you want Nintendo but don't want to drop the obscene amount of money that the Switch actually costs after you finish buying it, which we both had great feelings towards. Yeah, that's the gist of their financial thoughts, of their financial presentation thingy. Do you have any thoughts you wanted to share?
No, I kind of wish they dropped the 3DS just because I want full Switch support, but you know, whatever. Yeah. I can't. It doesn't make any sense for them to, especially with the sales, the recent sales, and everybody already has one. Not everybody has a Switch, so
yeah. I 100% agree, and that seeing them move away from it would be nice. I'm going to be really sad. I'm already really sad. There's a Kirby game that's coming out for the DS coming out soon. And there's the Mario Party game that's coming out for the DS. And it's just like, I want these games, but I'm not buying games for an old console. It's just, I've moved on. My DS exists because I still want Animal Crossing. And that's really the only reason I'm holding on to it. So. Yeah, I'd like to see them move on, but hey, here we are. This is where we would put emails. We got any emails. We did not get anything this week, nor any reviews that I saw. So I am just going to delay a second while I make sure that that's correct. Yep, okay. So if you want to email the show, you can email us at desyncednerds@gmail.com. If you prefer to tweet, you can tweet at us. We are at desyncednerds. Or either of us individually. I'm at Kulana, Kulanah, ANAH, and he's at DSN Colin. If you want to support the show, we're on Patreon, patreon.com/desyncednerds. And again, every week or every day except for the day of the show and the day after the show, I am doing little Patreon news posts for everybody. You don't have to be a Patreon for that, where I just kind of run through the headlines, the big headlines of the week. Generally, I put stuff in there that we're not actually going to talk about on the show because of presentation reasons. generally try to stay away from like video conversation on the show because it doesn't, pass well.
Mesh well.
Yeah, exactly. Audio listeners don't want to know about video. If you want to support the show, but you can't do so monetarily, you can rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher. And again, I will be reading those every week as you do those. You can catch us most Sundays. Occasionally, like today, we have Saturday shows because scheduling is hard. You can catch us most Sundays on twitch.tv/DesyncedNerds, and then the VODs will be up on the YouTube channel for Desynced Nerds. And then finally, we are on Discord at bit.ly/DSN Discord. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Peace.